Want to see more cool videos on our channel? We do, so press this bell and enable to send notifications.
Apparently, a desert can look like a barren area of landscape with inhabitable living conditions, but with all its lifelessness, deserts not only serve as home to humans for centuries, but also to various plants and animal species which have evolved over time. Today we're going to tell you about some of the most weird yet wonderful things that have been discovered in the deserts. Number 10. Old rusting ships. Wouldn't it be interesting to leave your comfort zone to explore deserts around the world, doing tiresome journeys? Or would you prefer to look at Google Earth on a small screen of your desktop? We can also blame modern technology for making us lethargic and sluggish to get out of bed and experience things in real time. But at the same time, these high-tech things are also helping us to discover objects that are hard to find with the naked eye. Recently, a fleet of 4 giant old rusting ships in the desert of Kazakhstan has been spotted by a modern satellite revolving around the globe. What makes these wrecks bizarre is their location, hundreds of miles away from the nearest ocean, which is the Aral Sea. The unanswered question is, how did these 4 giant rusting ships find themselves resting in the middle of the desert? Surely they weren't dropped out of the sky. Critical analysis of old available sketches of the location suggests that the region has been a victim to one of the worst climate changes in the world. These adverse effects of global warming eventually dried out all the available water resources in this region. Anyhow, these shipwrecks are still there, giving the impression of perpetual sailing on and towards the eternal destination. Number 9. Der Berger landmark sign. It's common for desert people to experience optical illusions of water, but does it really make any sense when you see a large burger? A photographer shooting in a desert found a giant burger in the middle of a desert. He immediately posted it on social media asking what this weird presence was. Later, he found out that this burger was actually part of an epic computer game, Fortnite, where portal rifts suck up these fictional landmarks and reappear in a later stage. But the question is, how on earth did these landmarks get teleported to the real world? The Der Berger landmark appearance in the real world was basically part of a filming of a game trailer by Fortnite to promote their upcoming gaming season among gamers. Makes sense, right? There are 2 other missing landmarks, a giant tomato and a Lonely Lodge Motel sign. Pack your bags, because you know where to find these missing landmarks. Number 8. Atacama Desert. Even though the Atacama Desert is infamous for its extremely hot and dry weather conditions, considering the reputation of the desert, it's hard to believe that the original inhabitants of this region, the Atacaminos, had not only survived but had flourished thousands of years ago, while performing all their rituals and religious activities in their ancient sanctuaries. Recently, archaeologists unearthed a 3,200-year-old ancient ceremonial complex that was built with vertical stones and divided into a number of sections. They've not only found the remains of 28 infant burials, but also discovered giant stone monuments and a huge quantity of gold with other expensive materials. Scientists believe that stone carvings and human remains found in one of the sections of the complex could also mean that those rituals involved human sacrifices. Scary, isn't it? Other excavated sites have also unearthed gold-plated wooden vultures along with malachite to create a crest and eyes. Current research has also been conducted to identify the presence of certain hallucinogenic materials. Number 7. Atacama's Microorganisms. The Atacama Desert has long sustained its reputation of having brutal and inhospitable environment to live in. Because of its extreme hot weather conditions, no plant or animal life whatsoever is able to survive this driest place with the most arid areas. But researchers were astonished to discover these tiny little organisms on the surface of the Atacama Desert, which developed an extraordinary technique for survival. These microorganisms have made their immune system thrive in one of the worst living conditions found on planet Earth. Study tells us that these microorganisms employ secret processing in order to metabolize the available methane in the atmosphere and then use it to strengthen their immunity. Good for them, but what benefit is that for us? The Atacama Desert is also known as the Mars of planet Earth. Its surface has uncanny resemblance to the surface of the actual planet Mars, and it's so similar that this piece of land is best fit for people at NASA to test survival simulations and prototype robotic equipment in the desert for their upcoming Mars missions. Number 6. Nazca Lines. Ever seen evidence for extraterrestrial intelligence? Well, Nazca Lines are the ones that can be easily mistaken for alien communication with their counterparts on Earth. Located in the Peruvian coastal plain about 250 miles south of Lima, Peru, this collection of giant geoglyphs created by the ancient Nazca culture between 500 BC and 500 AD were first discovered by archaeologists in 1927. The interesting fact about Nazca Lines is their construction, which covers roughly 200 square miles in a stretch of desert. It simply is unbelievable that this enormous size and complex design was made 2,000 years ago without being able to fly directly overhead. Rumour has it that the Nazca built the lines themselves, but with extraterrestrial instructions, or an attempt to communicate with aliens by creating large enough images to be visible from space. Nazca lines have been studied for over 80 years, and recently it's been revealed that these lines were not related to astronomical cycles, but were part of the techniques employed by the Nazca people to bring underground water to the surface for irrigation. Still an unsolved mystery, right? Number 5. Gobi Saws. You would probably have seen Jurassic Park, where scientists recreate wild dinosaurs. Over time, these movies have been successful in creating impressions of dinosaurs as ferocious and terrifying creatures that can be unleashed on humans in any way. But we have good news. In the real world of archaeology, researchers working in the Gobi Desert have unearthed fossils of small, innocent bird-like creatures named Gobi Saws that could belong to a family of oviraptor dinosaurs. Analysing fossil remains through modern technologies has helped scientists in creating a figurative appearance of the Gobi Saw. Too small to fight or ride, the Gobi Saw is believed to be among one of the more commonly tamed creatures. This strange-looking dinosaur-cum-bird may have had feathers as well as skin, but wasn't able to fly high because of its small-sized wings. The most amazing part of the Gobi Saw fossils was its jaw, which unwraps the eating habits of this unique creature. It's certain that this jaw was being used to crush hard food. Despite being a carnivore, Gobi Saw's main source of food was eggs, and eggs that were surreptitiously slipped from another's nest. Number 4. Love Lake, Al Quadra Desert. You should probably book the next flight to Dubai. The reason? This Love Lake in the middle of the desert. It's becoming business as usual for the Crown Prince of Dubai to justify saying, you name it, Dubai has it, or if it doesn't have it, it's building it. Mohammed Al Maktoum has recently announced a new addition to the list of Dubai's architectural marvels and creative designs, a man-made oasis in the heart of the Al Qudra Desert, which has been shaped as two gigantic interconnected hearts. Not only the beauty of this lake that mesmerizes visitors, but it's also the mammoth 550,000 square meter size and the shape that makes this landmark even recognizable from outer space. With so many other attractions on the site, the most interesting one is that the trees on one side of the lake are planted in order to spell out the word love, if viewed from above. Keeping in mind the place was built with a vision to promote eco-tourism in the city. Surrounded by sand dunes and palm trees, these artificial lakes not only are a treat to the eyes, but also inhabit various bird and animal species. Number 3. Frost Rimes in Taklamakan Desert. Snowing in a desert? Well, yes. You heard it right. Sand dunes receiving snow is probably one of the rarest sights to catch on planet Earth, but if you're in luck, you might be at the right place at the right time. With the area of approximately 123,550 square miles, Taklamakan is China's largest desert. Infamous for its intensely dry and warm conditions, desert climate also swings in between extreme hot to super cold temperatures in a span of just 24 hours. A sharp decrease in desert temperature produces frost rimes, which is basically a frozen fog that accumulates on the surface of plants, trees and sand dunes. These bright white-coloured frozen rimes, layered smoothly on yellowish sand of the desert, complement each other. It seems that the place can only make your childhood snow fantasies come true. Taklamakan sits close to the Himalayas, which deposit water vapour into the atmosphere, causing this unique phenomenon of interplay between snow and sand dunes. Number 2. The Bom Jesus. Approximately 1/5 of the Earth's land area is covered with deserts, so it's not unusual to find natural habitat or man-made possessions. In 2008, Namibian diamond miners accidentally discovered by far one of the oldest and richest shipwrecks ever found across the Namibian desert. Owned by the Portuguese King João III, the Bom Jesus sailed towards India in 1533 from Port Lisbon. The ship's trading journey ended at the bottom of the sea because of the violent storms it faced. Scientists described it as one of the most important discoveries of the ancient past. Geologists believe that the ship's treasure chest was naturally preserved by the Sultan sand, which deposited over it 5 centuries ago. The doomed ship was loaded with copper ingots, West African ivory, Portuguese, Spanish, Florentine and Venetian gold and silver currency, weapons including swords, clothing and skeletons. Too much to carry, right? The estimated worth of the Portuguese ship and its retrieved items is a whopping $14 million. However, the Portuguese government didn't bother to raise any claims. In fact, they were generous enough to let the Namibians preserve this historic treasure. Number 1. Clown Motel, Nevada, USA. If you're seeking something paranormal, would you dare to spend a whole night in a room full of clowns next to an abandoned graveyard? Sounds scary, doesn't it? This clown motel is one of the creepiest places ever to be found in the middle of the desert. The hotel is entirely themed out to instigate the irrational fear of clowns among its residents. Located in the Tonopah Desert, the motel was founded by Leona and Leroy David in 1985. Once you step inside this mini clown world, you will be terrified to see all these clown hangings, scary stuffed dolls and life-size statues of famous clowns which are staring right into your eyes. The hotel has huge collections of dolls, stuffed animals, porcelain statues and wall hangings that only represent one thing: scary clown figures. In fact, this place doubles as a clown museum, which is most people's nightmare, right? The place is also designated as America's Scariest Motel. Think you're crazy enough to make a stop at the Clown Motel? Thank you so much for watching, and if you enjoyed the video, please let me know by clicking the like button. Do share, write a comment, and don't forget to subscribe so that you can catch up my next video.